And fixing it is easier than you think, much easier. Because once you understand this, you start noticing something strange. Devices you trusted aren't actually off. They're paused, waiting in the background, holding on to power, just in case you need them again. Now think about how often that just in case happens. How many times a day? Do you actually turn your TV on? 2 times? 3 times? Maybe less. But the rest of the day? It's still connected, still consuming, still costing you money for doing absolutely nothing. Now expand that idea. Your gaming console. You might use it for an hour, maybe 2. But for the other 22 hours, it's still plugged in, still drawing power, still waiting. Now your charger. Even when your phone isn't connected, it's still pulling energy, still active, still part of the drain. Now your router. Always on, always running, even when no one is using the internet. And slowly, you start to see the pattern. This isn't one device. It's a system built around constant readiness, not efficiency. Now here's where most people get it wrong. They think, I'll just unplug things. But that doesn't last, because convenience always wins. You forget. You get busy. You stop caring. And everything goes back to how it was. That's why this setup matters, because it removes the need to remember. It removes the need for effort. It replaces discipline with design. And design always wins over habits. Now imagine walking into your home and knowing nothing is wasting power unnecessarily. Not because you checked, not because you remembered, but because it's handled automatically, silently, every second. Now let's take it one step further. Imagine leaving your house. Everyone gone, doors locked, lights off. But instead of your home quietly draining energy, it goes into near zero consumption. Only essentials remain active. Everything else, cut off, completely. That's the difference this creates. Now fast forward to the end of the month. Your electricity bill arrives, and instead of confusion, there's clarity. Because now, your usage reflects reality. Not hidden waste, not silent drain, just what you actually used. Now here's something even more important. This change doesn't feel dramatic. There's no big moment, no instant transformation. But over time, it adds up, quietly, just like phantom power did. Except now, it's working in your favor, saving instead of wasting. Now think long term, not days, not weeks, years. If small amounts of energy are wasted every second for years, that becomes a large cost, a cost you never noticed. Now reverse that. If small amounts are saved every second for years, that becomes real savings, real impact, without effort. Now here's something else people overlook. Phantom power creates a constant background load. Your electrical system is always active, always under slight pressure, always running, even when it doesn't need to. And over time, that matters because constant load creates heat. Heat creates wear. Wear reduces lifespan. So when you eliminate phantom power, you're not just saving money, you're reducing stress on your entire system. Now think about older devices. They lasted longer. Why? Because when they were off, they were truly off. No standby, no waiting, just zero. But modern devices changed that. Convenience became the priority. Instant response, instant power, instant access. And slowly, efficiency disappeared in the background. Now here's the interesting part. The solution isn't complicated. It doesn't require new technology. It doesn't require upgrades. It's just control. Control over when power flows and when it doesn't. That's it. Now go back to that simple idea. Master control. One device decides everything. When it's on, everything works. When it's off, everything stops. No exceptions. No hidden drain. Now imagine setting that up once and forgetting about it completely. No maintenance. No adjustments, just consistent results, day after day. Now look around your space again, right now. How many things are plugged in, not in use, just sitting there, waiting? Each one pulling power, each one adding to your bill, each one part of the problem. And the crazy part is, you don't see it, you don't feel it, but you pay for it every single month until you stop it. And once you do, something shifts. You become aware. You start noticing inefficiencies everywhere, not just electricity, but systems in general, because the pattern is the same. Small leaks, hidden in plain sight,
costing you over time. Now bring it back to your home, your system, your control. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about electricity. It's about awareness, understanding where your resources go, and taking control of them. Now remember this, you're not just paying for what you use, you're paying for what stays connected. And that is the difference between smart usage and silent waste. So the next time you walk past a device that looks off, pause for a second and ask yourself, is it really off? Or is it still waiting, still consuming, still costing you money? Because once you ask that question, you already know the answer. And fixing it is one of the simplest upgrades you can make. No complexity, no major cost, just a smarter way to control your power. Because once you fix this, you don't just save money, you change how your home behaves, from something that constantly consumes to something that responds only when needed. And that's a big shift, because most homes today are passive systems. They just keep running, keep drawing power, whether you're using them or not. But with control, your home becomes intentional. Nothing runs without a reason. Nothing consumes without purpose. Now think about that for a moment. Energy, only flowing when it's actually needed. No waste, no background drain, no silent loss. Now imagine waking up in the morning. You turn on one device, and everything you need comes to life, effortlessly. Then when you're done, you turn it off, and everything shuts down, completely. Not partially, not sleeping, but truly off. That's the difference. Now here's something even more interesting. Once you set this up, you stop thinking in terms of devices, and start thinking in terms of systems. Groups of devices, connected together, controlled together, working together. And that changes how you organize everything. Your workspace, your entertainment setup, your kitchen. Everything becomes more efficient, more intentional, more controlled. Now let's talk about something most people ignore. Time. Because time is where this really adds up. 1 hour of wasted energy doesn't feel like much. 1 day, still small. But over a year, that's where it matters. Because phantom power doesn't take breaks. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And that's why it becomes expensive. Not because it's large, but because it's constant. Now flip that again. Your savings also become constant. Small, but non-stop. Working in your favor. Every hour. Every day. Every month. Now here's something else to consider. Most people focus on big changes, big upgrades, big purchases, because they feel impactful. But real efficiency often comes from small, consistent fixes, like this. Invisible improvements that run quietly in the background. Now think about how many people never notice this. They keep paying higher bills, month after month, assuming that's just how it is, assuming that's normal. But it's not. It's just unoptimized. And once you optimize it, you see the difference, not just in cost, but in control. Now let's go even deeper, because this idea applies beyond electricity. It's about identifying hidden drains, things that take resources without giving value, and removing them. That's what makes systems efficient. Not adding more, but eliminating what isn't needed. Now bring that idea back again, to your home, to your devices, to what's plugged in right now. Because right now, something is still drawing power, something you're not using, something you didn't even think about, still active, still costing you money. Now imagine catching every one of those, automatically, without effort. That's what this setup does. Now here's the final perspective shift. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to replace your devices. You don't need expensive upgrades. You just need control. Control over the flow. Because once you control the flow, everything else follows. Efficiency, savings, longevity, all of it. Now think about how simple that is. Not complicated, not technical, just a smarter setup. Now one more time, look around. Devices plugged in, lights off, nothing in use. But energy still moving, still being consumed, still being paid for, until you stop it. And once you do, you don't go back, because you see it now, clearly. The difference between what you use and what you waste. And once that line becomes clear, everything changes. So the next time you check your electricity bill, don't just accept the number. Question it, break it down. Think about what was actually used and what was just left connected. Because that's where the real story is. That's where the hidden cost lies. And that's where the easiest fix exists. Simple, silent, effective, and already within reach.